Well, hello there. It's your girl, Sean LeRae with Boss Talk. Bold, one of a kind, sensational superstars. So, welcome back. If you haven't been here before, this is where we talk about all things boss. We celebrate women and a few good men. And tonight, I'm going to be talking to one of my dearest friends on the planet. So, tonight is an especially important and special night. As many of you know, I lost my dear sweet husband, William Joseph, to COVID. And it was 1 year ago today. So today marks the 1 year commemoration of my sweet man, William Joseph, going to heaven to live with God. And though this has been a very difficult journey, I wanted to dedicate this show to him today because he has always been the wind beneath my wings. William was a very special guy. He was kind of quirky, just like me. And so I thought this would be a perfect night to celebrate him and all that he was, what he meant to me, and what he meant to so many. So, thank you for tuning in. So, I'm really excited about my guest tonight because this guest is holds a special place in my heart. And she held a very special place in William's heart as well. And uh, she and her husband, we did life with them and their family and their children. And so I thought, um, a better time than to have my dear friend, who is amazing in her own right, on the show tonight. So I'll tell you a little bit about Miss Chantel Denise. Chantel Denise is an artistic entrepreneur with over 20 years experience in the entertainment industry as a professional artist and writer. The Southern girl with her Texas roots and LA boots has been performing all throughout the US. Her credits include musical theater productions, national commercials, live broadcasts, and session work for recording artists. Her latest single, The Vision, is available on all major music platforms. So make sure that you go there and look for her. And in 2019, she made her debut as a filmmaker with a short called Emerald King, which has been featured on several film festivals. So she has a deep desire to use her gifts to inspire and elevate others. And so we'll talk to Chantel Denise and find out a little bit more about what she's up to. But please welcome to Boss Talk, my dear friend, Chantel Denise.
Hey, 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 hey.
Hey, girl. How you doing?
I feel like I'm fighting waltzes with my hair. That's what Southern said. My mom was she said, "You look like you're fighting waltzes." You know these people have to do their own thing.
I've heard that from her many times. Well, I'm so glad to see you again. I just saw you not long ago, 2 hours ago, here with me in my office. We spent the morning and the afternoon together, and we went to visit my husband's.
Yes.
Well, I guess it's called the final resting place, but we know that his final resting place is with God, but where he is commemorated at the National Cemetery in Los Angeles. We went there today and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was a difficult time for me, but it was still a beautiful experience. Just anytime I get to lift up and celebrate him. And so that's amazing. So hold on, I'm getting a message here. Let's see. I don't know what's going on.
Is it your?
I think that's the other show. I think that's from the boo-boo that I made.
Oh, got you.
So it's popping up. Let me just, uh-oh. If I remove it, it's telling me to remove the destination. So that has to be the old show because the other one is there.
Got you.
No, 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 no. Okay. Oh no. No, 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 no.
As long as you don't cut this one off, you're good.
Yeah, I guess so. We're
Because you
good.
know that could happen.
I know. Oh, believe me, I really know because I that's how I kind of messed up backstage behind the scenes yesterday when I was trying to be ahead of the game and promote next week's show, and I
Mm,
dated it today. So that wasn't good. So there's our friend, beautiful Miss Lynn. Hi, Lynn. Thanks for joining.
and
See you. So, well, Chantel, first of all, I just want to thank you for being on tonight. Just thank you for being who you are in my life and who you were in William's life. And just, you have, this has been a difficult journey. And you and your husband and your family and our family group truly has helped me to walk this journey. So I really, really just want to lift you up in that way today. I feel like I'm too little today. Let me see. Why am I at the
I was like,
lift
right,
up a little bit?
all right, I can get a smaller chair.
No, 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 no. It's fine. I just don't want my chin to cover up,
I got
to be covered up here. But so well, tell the people out there, tell our audience a little bit about you.
okay. So, for those of you who are watching, I am Chantel Denise, and you know, in Shalom Ray's life and in William's life, I'm Chantel Denise Steinreich. Um, but I go by Chantel Denise because it's just been easier to use as far as an artist. As you know, I'm an artist, singer, not artist painting, but singer and songwriter actually, and writer. I produce shows. I mean, whatever hat there is to wear, I probably worn it at some point in my life. But I definitely love being an artist for sure. That's where I get to play. But mainly my real assignment is raising this family and helping people out there live greater lives than what they are currently doing for themselves right now. It's just inspiring them to always do good, better, best. Never let it rest till your good is better and your better is best.
Girl,
So
you sound like an AKA now. That's what I had. We learned that when we pledged.
So I actually got that from one of my a lady who's a woman that I follow, a spiritual teacher. She's a righteous woman who really just teaches women, and which brings me to what I wanted to share next was that my because I've been focusing on my good, better, best, never let it rest. I have a desire to help other people, so I got certified last year as a certified professional coach, and you know all about that.
Yes.
But there's a lot that I've done, but I will say this work that God is leading me to now in my life, I think it's going to be pretty amazing. I'm actually excited about it. So I'm looking forward to what he has next. So that's just a little bit about kind of like what I do, where I've been, but my background has a lot in it. I've been in corporate. I've been, doing advertising. I've been, in music and all of that. So, I mean, it's been really a beautiful, well-rounded circle for me to be able to do some things that I love and be blessed with some other things, like being
Mhm.
a mom and being a wife and all of that stuff. So those are great. Those roles are some of the greatest roles I could have ever asked for.
Mhm. Yes, yes. Well, I think you covered it all. I think, and your Nana's here. Mama says hello, ladies.
Hello, hello, hello.
And there's a little note from Mr. Steinreich. This is where you can find Chantel Denise. He's
He's
getting that
always,
info early. I love it.
pumping me and sharing my pages, and yeah,
Yes, he
I
is.
really appreciate that. Like he's always on top of that. If people don't know who I am, he'll make sure that I do. They do.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what I used to say about William. William was my walking commercial. No matter where we went, he would say, "Do you know her? This is Sean Ray. She has a band. It's called Black Silk. That's Blaque
Yeah.
Silk."
he was definitely hyping you up all the time.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Well, so tonight I definitely want to dedicate this show to my William.
Mm,
And I think it's important because, as you well know, I've walked through this year of grief. And I guess I say walk through, but sometimes I've crawled through, sometimes I've had to roll through it, sometimes I've sat absolutely still. And I think that, you always hear that um, people grieve differently, and that's absolutely true, and I 100% believe that and honor that. And I think that for me, a lot of the time that people have asked me if I have taken time to grieve, and so I have to reassure people that actually I do. um, I am a woman that goes at high speed always, and that's all I know. But this loss has slowed me down in ways that people might not see, because a lot of my grieving is in my quiet times and in my reflection. And the way that I actually get through it is to honor who William was, which is what we're doing tonight. Honor the special the special parts of who he was, is, and will always be to me. But I also have noted, I listen to what people say, and people say to me all the time, "You're so strong. You're so strong." And I don't quite know what that means, because I don't feel strong sometimes. But of course, it is my faith that keeps me. If I appear strong, it's because I am leaning on the one and only God, and I am trusting in the one and only God, because there are days that I don't feel like I can do this, not another day, not another minute. And so when that happens, I I can only lean on God, and my friends and my family. And you guys have been a huge part of that. I'm so grateful for the friend and family that I have in the Steinreich family and the Briniac family, and dear Lynn, and our family group, my family, William's family, and all of our dear friends have really helped me through this. And I think that sometimes people don't know how to help people grieve, or how to even be around someone who's grieving. Do you have any thoughts on that, Chantel?
Um, Charlamagne, thank you for sharing that first of all. And we've definitely enjoyed being in your life. And we're just like very grateful to God that He chose us for the assignment, for such a time
Mhm.
as this. Um, but I think that people mean well. Like one
Yeah.
of the things that I am learning is that there are people do have hearts. There are many people who have these big huge hearts and they mean well, and they want to say something, but they really just don't know what to say, so they really kind of plunge into the normal statistic type words, the words
Right.
that are always said. Oh, you're so strong. Oh, he's in a better place. Oh, you're gonna get through this. All those things are true. Like it's not
Mhm.
like it's not real, it's not
Right.
truth.
Right.
They're truth. They just sometimes come in the delivery of it at the wrong time sometimes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, someone told me a long time ago, I don't know, I think we talked about this, a woman named Marsha Lamb. She says, people will really not know how to take care of you until you
Mhm.
teach them. And so,
Right.
my thoughts on that, and I do feel like you are a woman who really will share what she's really feeling. I don't believe you're like gonna just cover it up like, well, I felt that way, but should I say something? I don't think you're like that. I think you
No.
will say exactly what you're feeling. And so sometimes my thoughts is that sometimes it's okay to say, you know what, I appreciate that, but it just comes, it doesn't feel good right now.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
for that. Thank you for
Yeah.
wanting to say something. And then, when you feel a little bit stronger in your space, you can always tell them too and go back to them and say, you don't actually have to always say something. Sometimes silence is beautiful.
Yes.
Sometimes
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Yeah. And and that's always, that's across the board. And I love that about our friendship, because I know that, when we talk, I'll say something and you'll say something, and then you always say, thank you for sharing that. Did you want me to comment, or did you just need to say it or vent?
Yeah.
And I so but I've actually started to pick that up for myself, because people don't always want to hear what it is that you have to say, and like they say, opinions, right? But I think that growth lies inside some of those things that we don't want to hear. And
Mm.
so that's why I'm opening myself, and I'm open to hearing things. And particularly, it helps to know, love, and trust, right? So I know, love, and trust you and our ladies in our group, and your family and my family. But and I do know that people's hearts are always in the right place. And
Yeah,
so,
they
but
are.
it's funny, because then I end up trying to soothe them or take care of them in a way that, because that's who I am. I'm a caregiver, right?
Yeah.
So then I'm like worried about how they're feeling or how they're doing. But I love what you said about the silence of it all. And that's beautiful, because Gigi's here. Hi, Gigi. She says silence is beautiful. And absolutely, thank you for saying that, because sometimes in these times when a person is hurting, and in the way that I hurt, and in this kind of loss, and even just considering the time that we're in, that so many people have lost family members and friends. And speaking of that, I want to just from my heart give some love to the Martinez family, because we lost our dear angel today, um, Laura Martinez. And I just want to send some love to you guys. Know that we are all wrapping our arms around you and lending you our hearts and our prayers at this time. It's just so ironic that she would go be with God on the same day that my William did. But I tell
Mm.
you what's really beautiful is the vision that I have, that William, Tony, Sydney were all there to meet her as she was ushered in to
Mm-hmm.
heaven.
Yeah, that's a
And
great walk of faith right there.
yes,
That's
yeah,
those names will be right under Hebrews 11, because those
yeah,
faithful people. And wow,
yeah,
I'm just blown away. I know that we're actually missing out because there's a special celebration happening.
yeah, yeah. And I try to remember that in the times that I am, because the emotions go like everywhere. Some days I'm like, I'm like this. Why I got to be here by myself? Took me so long to get a husband, and now he's gone, and all of
Yeah.
that. And then I quickly had to remind myself that God is the goal. That's the ultimate goal, and that William knew God and God knew William. And so God called his name. And that just blows me away when I think about that. And I wake up every morning and I'm like, he's not here. And
Mm.
and then I cry. I cry every single morning and every single night. And it's been a year, and I don't know when I'll stop doing that. But I cannot allow that to color my day. I can't allow that to um, walk with me as I go through the world, be, because I choose not to. It's a choice, and that's why I am calling this series of shows that I'm doing in February, Grief, Loss, and Choice.
Mm. I
And
like.
I want people to really hear that and understand what I'm saying. I'm not negating anybody's pain, because Lord knows I have so much of it. I
Mm.
have so much pain in my heart, I can feel it in my body sometimes, you know what I mean? But I think that if we share our journey, then it might be there to help someone else.
Mm.
And so yeah, yeah,
I appreciate you sharing that. Um, the journey has definitely been a challenge. I know I've witnessed it. Um, but I love, you're talking about choice. We will grieve. We will go through different things in life, but there is a choice too on how we will experience that. You know what I'm saying? And I think
Mhm.
you've actually chosen pretty well. I believe. I don't know how you feel about your choices, but I do feel like you have chosen pretty well. And I know that you mentioned something too earlier about like people say, well, you don't slow down or something like that. Um, Part of your way is it seems like that actually helps you. And I know we've talked about this many times. You're like,
Mhm.
it helps me to keep busy because I'm not like sitting there just in my feelings.
Right.
But I do know I have watched you, which I think is very beautiful when you have been in your feelings, and that is okay. I think a lot of
Mhm.
times, especially as African American women, we don't we don't think like we are strong women. I mean,
Mhm.
you got women all over this planet who are just strong and who are able to just like keep going, keep going, keep going. Doesn't mean they
Mhm.
don't feel something, doesn't
Right.
mean they're strong. So sometimes what looks as strength is not necessarily that you're like your heart doesn't hurt, is that you just made a choice to
Mhm.
go through it this way. And
Right.
I think that's great, and I think you've been very vulnerable during this time. I think you've said what you didn't like. I think you've said what you do like. I think you've cried.
Mhm.
I've witnessed it all.
Yeah.
I've seen it, and I just want you to know, for me, watching it is is good for me because I get to see like, okay, this person is going through their thing, and we have another friend of ours who lost her husband, and so we
Ah,
all like
sweet
looking in
Lynn.
looking in the window of each other's lives. And so when
Mhm.
you look in a window, you can see a lot of things if you look in and you're literally being present to see. You'll see a lot of
Mhm.
beautiful things. And I do think that you've shown us a lot of beautiful things in your grief. I just
Mhm.
want to
Thank
share that.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Well, it's just I think about, the choice that we all made to follow Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we grew up, right? At least a lot of us, a lot of African American folk grew up, in the church, right? And following, our families. In the name of Jesus, right? So we grew up following our family. Like when we were kids, we went to Sunday school because they said you going to Sunday school. And
Yep.
so right. And then we continued on in the church. I appreciate, though, being an adult woman
Yeah.
and having lived some life and having seen what it looks like on the other side of Christ,
Mm,
and
mm,
then making that decision consciously, and
mm-hmm.
the decision to live in that every single day.
Mm.
Honor, I think that honors Christ in such a way because it's intentional. It's like
Yeah.
you and I talk about intention often, and to make that kind of choice. And so I'm just so grateful that William made that choice, and
Yep.
and that he chose God in the way that he did for himself, and at the time that he did, which is a grown person, a grown man. And William grew up as a Christian in the church, and many of you don't know this, or maybe you do. He converted to Judaism, and he studied and had a mikvah and converted to Judaism. And so he was a God follower. He loved Christ and he loved God, and he always knew that he loved Jesus, because at one point William was a part of a section called Jews for Jesus.
Mm.
And then when he made the choice to convert back to Christianity, I just think that's so amazing. In he did all of this as an adult with intention, and that in making that choice, I think God knew what we didn't know.
Mm. Yeah.
And so I love I love that God knows when we don't. Well, I kind of love it. Sometimes I love it. I should say that to be real, because there are times that I don't like it a bit. But I think one of the things that I always said, God does all things well.
I like that. It's beautiful.
Yes. And then I lost my William and I thought, God, I don't like this. This is not well.
Yeah,
I'm not okay with this. But then I changed my song. I changed it to God does all things well, not just when I like it.
I like that new
That's helped
lyrics.
me.
I love those new lyrics.
Yes, yes,
Nice.
right?
That's nice.
Yeah. Let's
Wow.
see who's out there for a second, Shani. Hold that thought. Let's see. Belinda Deshay. Yes, B, this is the day. This is the day.
Mm.
Hi, Tiffany. Tiffany Walker's out there sending us some love.
Oh, she
Hello,
got.
darling.
Hey, Tiffany. Hey, Belinda.
Gigi says, you both are strong and beautiful women of God. Thank you, Gigi. You're
Thank
in
you,
that same club, girl. Oh, Tristina. Wait,
you
I
know,
hit the wrong button. She says, Shauna Ray, you are a light and inspiration to us all. Thank you. I want to say hi to Tracina. Hi there. Heart, heart,
Trey,
heart, back to you.
there's the heart. I see those hearts.
And here's my soror, Terry Mann. She says, when we are anchored in the Lord, it gives us what gives us the strength we need. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Terry had a beautiful message that she sends out. She sends out these lovely messages to our sorority group every day. And her message today was especially beautiful. And she gave me a scripture. And I thank you so much for that. It was beautiful. You were going to say something, Shani. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say you were bringing up the Lord Jesus, and we love him, us some him, and
Yes.
I just think that's part of like. I mean, I do like. Honestly, I do feel bad for people who have to grieve and do not know the Lord. And
Hmm.
so the thing is that like the Lord and you grieve a different way and you have tools and access. And I love what Terry is saying here because it is God who anchors us, who gives us the ability to be able to keep moving forward. Can you imagine the people who don't really have him, who don't have source as God?
Yes. Yes.
It breaks my heart. But you and
Mhm.
I know, like, the battle is real, but the battle is real, and we have a God that leads in the front of that.
Yes.
We don't
Yes.
have we don't have to question like where is he? Is he? I don't know where he is. We may feel some things like God, your presence. I know you can relate. God, I don't
Yeah.
feel your presence
Yeah. Where
here.
you at,
Like
guy?
and that's when I call that my out of body experience when that happens.
Yes, I know. Right. I ain't really
Because
need it right now. I love it.
because it's something that that how we hear something that I've just been really paying attention to, like this when we say God is good, right?
Hmm.
And that statement is God is good until he ain't good in my situation. You
Exactly.
know,
Come on, girl.
people will do that in a minute, and I've been guilty of it.
Okay, me too.
Of it. But
Yes.
I'm really, in my own life, just trying to, rephrase things like really like, if God is good, your life should represent that and the way
Hmm.
that you respond to the things that are going on in it. And
Absolutely.
so that's something I always have to really just check in for myself personally. But I think that you have the incredible tools. You've been able to get through this because you know God and he's your comforter and he's your counselor. You know that the Lord is leading you step by
Yes.
step. Like you understand that, you get that, you vibe with that. That's kind of your jam.
Mhm.
And so I love that we could go through this in this way. And William, I mean, man, that guy, um, he's one of a kind, to be honest. I mean, I don't know too many
Yes.
guys
Yes.
like him, and not to compare anything like that, but he was consistent in the way he was in
He
his
was.
spirit and his personality. I know he's got mad before, but I never seen that. I just never saw it because
Yeah.
he was always coming in shalom. And that was
Yep.
his word, shalom. He was
Shalom,
always
y'all.
peace all the time. And I tell you, when people leave here and they leave that kind of mark on the world, I'm like, well done. Well
Yes.
done, brother. I applaud you. I applaud
Yes.
you.
You
So,
know, yeah, Tiffany. Wow, not just when I like it. That's right, girl. That is so
oh,
true.
yeah.
Terry says, remember the Lord will never leave you nor forsake you. Absolutely. And Terry, I am a walking testimony to that every single day. You know, and when you talk about William never getting mad, it's so funny because even when he did get mad, and he did, he was still gentle towards me. Like he'd get mad at me, he would walk away, right? And here I am. And you know, my Marquita would always say, "Now it ain't no more like him, right? So won't
Mm-mm,
you be quiet?"
no
She would
more.
always remind me. And you know, I think that his way of being with me was amazing. And like I said, he got all my quirky. He, you know, and sister told me after he passed, she said that when William first started dating me and he was going to bring them to meet me, he told her, "Now look, sis, now you tell me the truth. You tell me the truth. If this ain't it, you tell me if you don't like her." And so after I met them, she said, "No, I think she's lovely. She's cute." And she seems really sweet. And so then she said they met me a few more times, and after I left, they said they looked at each other, started talking, and said, "She's just as quirky as he is."
Yeah, you guys had your own little thing. It was different. It was different. It was special. It was special, and it was
Yes.
beautiful to watch. You know.
Yeah, people would, and you know, but even as well as I knew William, um, getting to at his celebration of life, getting to listen to people who had known him long before I did share
Yeah.
about him, it just was a blow away. Yeah, John Steinwright, his buddy there, wrote Full Tilt Boogie, yes, and Boogaloo Down Broadway.
Yeah.
When William would leave a room, when he would come in a room, he would say "Shalom, y'all," and when he was leaving, he would say, "Well, we getting ready to Boogaloo Down Broadway,"
Mm-hmm.
and
You
you know,
ever write down those? Remember, he would say, I can't even remember some of it. Maybe John can remember, but he would like you'd say some how you doing, and he'd give you a whole poem, or he'd compliment you. It was like all these big, powerful words, and it's just
you
like you
you
walked.
are,
You're like, if you came in the room feeling bad, you walked out the room and went like, "Ooh,
hey, look at
hey,
me, check me out.
like that." That's just how he was. Oh my gosh. I always laughed every time I was
I
around.
did not. No, here, wait. This is funny. Did you know that Full Tilt Boogie was the name of Janis Joplin's band? No, I did not. But here's why William and John were such good friends, because they knew stuff that nobody else knew.
Nobody else knew.
William would say stuff to me and say, "Well, did you know that such and so and this and that and the other?" And I'd be like, no, baby, I didn't know that. And I need to know that because and here we go. I know. Random stuff, random stuff. Oh yeah, here's another one. The altitude of my
That's
attitude
one
is
of
not
them.
matched by the latitude of my gratitude. That was his big one. Yes. Yes.
John, you wrote that stuff down. Yes.
Yes, that's awesome. You know, the one thing he would say that you're talking about with women, he would say, "You are a radiant sunshine and a
Oh
bright
yeah, that
something
was
on a
that was
gloomy morn." And
yeah,
I
that
will
was
have to look
good.
at the video. When I get the video from the
Please,
party, it will
please
be on there because that's part of the
give me
poem that
that.
he read. Yes, yes. So for those of you who don't know, on my 60th birthday, I had a 60th birthday party that was amazing. And William and Chantal and John got together and planned a surprise wedding vow renewal. And that was the absolute most amazing gift for
Mm.
me. William and I had started planning a great big old wedding. And the first thing that happened, because I was always going to get married on Labor Day weekend, same day as my dear sweet Susan, um, and my big sister Vanessa, and we were going to get married. I was going to get married that weekend, and we were always going to do our celebrations together, Labor Day weekend. But that year, Labor Day weekend, the singles from our church were going on a singles retreat. And I was like, I can't get married while they need to go and find their husbands. I got mine. So we didn't do it then. And then so many things kept happening and happening. And finally we were like, look, let's just do it. So we called your mom and Amina Elise, and the two of them went down and stood up for us as we said our vows, just in front of them and the justice of the peace. And so we were always going to do a renewal. We were always going to do a renewal. And honestly, what I think is so amazing and just the way that God works is we were planning, we had said, well, let's just do it on 15.
Mm.
And God said to y'all and to him, no, let's do it now. And so I just think that the way that we were thinking, God's so much loftier and his thoughts are so much higher, because he said, no, do it now. And that was the greatest gift and surprise that I could have had. So I want to thank you guys for that. And it's so funny because my cousin Marquita was like, how did William keep that from even me? Because I had no clue. And that
I
was
love
beautiful.
that.
Yeah, Belinda says she remembers that one well. Absolutely. Yes. William was the only person in human history who could give God a nickname, which was George.
I remember that
That's
too.
right. And he would say, I'm on a first name basis with God. His name is George.
And he
Jillian,
was serious.
he
He
was.
was just saying. It was like we were all laughing, but he was like, "Oh no, no, no! We've talked about this. His name is George."
His name
It
is
was like
George.
they had their own,
Absolutely.
between the two of them, they had their own thing
They
that
had their
nobody
own
else
little
knew
thing.
about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Terry has a comment. Terry says, when I first met William and when Sean introduced him to me, he said, this is my husband. Never said his name, so I would just call him husband.
I like it. I
He
love
was such a sweet spirit with a beautiful smile. Yes, thank you. He was. He still is. He lives on in all of our hearts. He
Yes.
really does. You know, Shan, I think it would be fun to um share your favorite William story.
Ooh. Well, I have a lot of them. I have a lot of them, but I will tell you this is what stays in my spirit is that William was extremely supportive. He was extremely supportive person. And he was so supportive that he basically would support you through somebody else. Like if somebody else needed something, he would go do it for that person to get it to that other person. So it's like a thread. So like,
Hmm.
that was something that I just thought was very beautiful about him. But I would tell you, William would come to my performances, my shows. And in particular, he came to one you were out of town. When I saw him do that, I knew that the relationship was not through you. I knew
Hmm.
that he had made it his own. And
Yeah.
that is probably the most beautiful thing to me in memory, rather than a story, because there's so
Yeah.
many other stories, but the memory of that. And I was like, oh, you came. He goes, why not? Shalom. It was when that was when I feel like for me, our relationship elevated. to a
Mm-hmm.
totally different level because it was, you know how when you couple sometimes the it just be the wives like they cool, they
Yeah.
like each other, and then the husbands they may like each other, but it's not a across the board thing.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
all of us are connecting. Like you connect with John, I connect with Lloyd. So
Yeah.
like it just that day, I would tell you that's a memory that I will never forget. And I have a picture of us. It's the one picture that I just have. And I absolutely love it because it was that day that I just went, this guy is he's our friend, even if Sean Leray was out of town.
Right.
She's out
Right.
of her life. It doesn't shape the friendship. And I don't know if you told him he need to be there, but anyway, regardless, I
No, I didn't. I didn't.
don't. And then lastly, if I could share one more thing,
Sure, please, please,
that
absolutely.
is that William is the only one that I know of, and anybody could correct me if I'm wrong, that would come to my performance and be taping it like he was making his own documentary. He would be taping the performance, like getting it all in there. And I still don't know half of the them videos where they're at. But I remember in particular, he would always tell me, bravo, bravo. That was his only word. He
Yep.
really didn't go into, and I love that because he didn't have to, but
Right.
it encouraged my soul to have someone saying bravo because you're working hard. Not
Right.
that,
Right.
not that confirmed nothing for me in the sense of I did a great job or not, but it was just the honor that I
Right.
received in that
Yeah.
blessing.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing when one person can honor another person, and when a man can honor a woman like that who's not his wife, but give that kind of honor to other women. It just says a lot about who he
Yeah.
is. So I
Absolutely.
those moments will always be here for me.
Yeah. He just thought the world of you, and he just, honey child, you were Diana Ross to him. He just thought you were so talented. He always would say, that
When you
Chantel really,
go.
she's really talented. She's really talented. She's great. Look at her. What also was great for me to watch, and we watched this together in Texas because I don't know that we had noticed it the way that I did, but um, he when you performed at the Rose for Mother's Day, and that must have been had to be 2019, right? Because it was before the pandemic. When that
I think so.
2019,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and you sang "What's Love Got to Do with It," and you had audience participation.
And I have him right
And
up front.
on that video, he's right there singing it, and he's standing up and he's doing his thing, and I just love that. I think we found that because you needed some footage for something, and we looked
Yeah,
at that. Yeah.
yeah.
And then I
He
also looked at this one not long ago when I was at the Black Women's Network meeting, and we were going to on a cruise, and I said to him, baby, I have to go to the Black Women's Network meeting. And I mean, how many husbands would have been like, girl, we ain't going to a meeting, we can ready to go on a cruise. No, ain't nobody doing that. And even before that, I went, like, we got up, literally, we packed the car, and we got up, and by 9 a.m., I was out in, oh gosh, what is it? I think Torrance or something like that, at the Torrance Police Department, because I had seen this woman on Spectrum News One who was talking about hockey. She had a team of girls who she had started a hockey league for. And I was so impressed because she said her daughter wanted to play hockey, and she looked and she said, Mommy, I don't ever see anybody who looks like me playing hockey. And her mother said, that's it. And she started this hockey league. But not only did they do hockey, then they started doing social skills with these girls and teas and all of that. And every year for the Black Women's Network, I get to choose a charity. And so I chose them as our charity, but I also said they need socks because I'm from Ohio. I'm an ice skater from Toledo, Ohio. I know about those ice skates. You need thick socks. And
The
so
socks.
I
Yeah.
told my women in Black Women's Network, we're going to honor these girls. Please bring socks. It was at the last minute. And we showed up at that. We went over there and told them, we'll get you the check and we'll get you the socks later, but know that we're going to do it. And she wanted me to meet the girls, and there was going to be somebody was filming there, and they wanted me to be on this show. Never got to see it. It's Hawthorne local. It was Hawthorne. That's what it was. But then we left there, and he met someone there that he went to high school with. So that's crazy. And then we get over to the Black Women's Network meeting, and he was just, and they did the birthdays for the month of December. And so his birthday's December 21st, and he stood up and we sang happy birthday. And there's this video of him doing his little dance like this. And it just warms my heart so much. He was the only man in the room full of women, but he was still William and having such a ball. And this is one of my Black Women's Network sisters here. The pleasure was mine to meet him, so cheerful and kind. R.H. William, thank you. Yes, that's our hug mistress from the Black Women's Network.
Oh, that's the one you were telling me about
Yes,
today.
Amelia, the hug. She's our hug mistress because we believe she actually lives up to that name. She when we were able to be in person, she would walk up to people and say, have you had a hug today? Has someone hugged you? And she would hug them. And so we named her the hug mistress.
What a beautiful thing. That's so cool.
She's a beautiful spirit. And her birthday is just 4 days after mine. William has, John has another story. I'm very happy to have been able to participate in William's 70th birthday party. He really deserved to have a big celebration. Oh, yes, that's right.
That one was a good one.
That was a good one. I surprised William twice. You guys were at both of them. The first time was at the house.
Yes.
Remember that one? And then we did the other one at Sarah's, and William thought he was going to hear John's band, Doc Rocket, play. And I kept stalling him because you guys weren't quite ready yet. And so I said, let me put on my makeup. And so I said, I don't want to walk in there with no makeup on. So I pulled over to the side. I already had on makeup there, of course. But I just kind of tuned it up a little bit. And he sat there and he was just fine. And we were laughing and talking. And then when we got there and we were able to walk in and they played, John, was it Green Onions? That they played, and he walked in and he didn't know what was going on. And so he kind of looked around and he was like, when he got it, he started his dance again. And we laugh about it, but William was quite a dancer.
Yeah, he cuts the rug.
He does. And when we were, he had, let's see, and I don't remember the exact year, 1965 or 66, he was on the Lloyd Thaxton Hour or Lloyd Thaxton Show, and he won the dance contest, dancing to Get Ready. And then you guys played that for him too. Gigi was there. Yes, you were.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was his jam. Get Ready. Every time he heard it, it was like,
yes.
Before he can get to the dance where he was already moving.
That's right. That's right. Connie, hey, sister girl. She says, hug mistress. She loves it. I love it too. That's awesome. It's also funny too, because all the stories that we're telling about William are sort of, when you know what he did and then you hear these stories, they don't seem to match, right? Because he was a private investigator. And he was also Air Force intelligence. And so he's this big, strong guy. He's got this, very stern presence. But he was really just a great big old teddy bear.
Yeah.
He really was. My sweet William. Thank you, Connie. Yes, beautiful memories. So John, John says, remember how he would say, oh, wow, when he was encouraged? Yeah. Yes, he would. If you said something to him, he would almost be like a little boy, like he was kicking rocks. He'd be like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, he was a fun one.
He was.
And I think that just all of these great memories and the love that we shared and the way that he was so gentle with me and all of those things, those are also part of the reason that I can make the choice that I'm making. I say that I choose joy. And William was pure joy. He really was. I mean, the people in our neighborhood, um, when he would go to the grocery store, he would joke with them and he would say, he would go in and he'd say, "Shalom, y'all." And they would say, "Oh, how are you doing, sir?" And he would say, "No personal questions on Wednesday." And they would go, first they would be baffled and then they were like, "Oh," and then he got it. So when he would come in, they would say, I know, no personal questions."
Yeah.
And for the longest time I couldn't go in there.
Mm,
And I mean a really long time. Like I went in there maybe a couple months ago for the first time in the local grocery store, and sure enough, somebody asked me about him. One of
mm,
the tellers, and I had to share that he was gone. And the man was like, "Oh, ma'am, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And he just kept saying that. He goes, "He was a great man. He was a great man." And I'm like, "Yes, thank you." But God
mm,
knew that I couldn't have done that no sooner than when I went in there.
yeah.
You know, and that's the
Wait,
thing. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say this pandemic has taken so many great, amazing, wonderful people, and so many people have lost loved ones as a result of this. And I got to say that it's always difficult to lose someone, but I think that there was a special extra layer of tragedy and trauma to losses that happened because of COVID.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. I think it kind of like, came in and just did what it did, and nobody, people, they're still trying to understand it, still
Yeah.
trying to see all the different variants popping up, like, okay, here's a new one, um I think that it just the world was just not prepared for a crisis or a disaster.
No.
We're not prepared. We were not prepared physically. We were not prepared mentally. We were not prepared spiritually, and we were not prepared emotionally. You know,
Yes.
um, we just went and like you said, we know the Lord. We understand that Scripture teaches. John 16:33. Jesus says, "In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I've overcome the world." I mean, we know these scriptures, but to
Hmm.
experience what he's talking about is a different
Yes.
thing, to allow
Absolutely.
yourself to experience it. So, yeah, I agree with what you're talking about. It was very hard to go, oh, it hit my home.
Yes.
It hit my family. I know a lot of people are grieving. Um, even just this week, there's been, I know of 2 deaths
Mm,
just this week, and we're only in Wednesday.
yeah.
Um, and just that's just in my own little circle, your
Right.
circle.
Right.
But can you think about all the other circles, all the other people who, by Wednesday, how many people are gone due to this disease?
Absolutely. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. And it's funny too because we read about history. We read about the plagues, right? We read about all of that and the pandemics and epidemics, and but we never imagined that that would come to our lives.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That we would even experience. And I mean, March 13th rings in my head because that was the last date that we were, they declared a state of emergency in California on that day. And ironically, you and me and William and John, diehards, we went to celebrate
We were
Sydney
out.
Wayne's birthday. And we were out. And by the time we heard it in the car, and then by the time we got to the place, they had made a drink called declared state of emergency. Remember that?
Yeah, yeah, because I think people didn't really. They was like, well, let's use this. Let's have some
Yeah,
fun here. But that was that night, and literally that week, that place was closed down. That's how
absolutely.
that's how fast everything happened.
Absolutely.
Happened very fast.
And everybody says that, like, my birthday party, that 60th birthday party, was just a few weeks, couple weeks before that, 2 weeks exactly before that.
You got it right in.
Got it right in, and Sydney snuck hers in right there on the 13th. And I literally never went to the. I left the office at 10:30 in the morning that day. We canceled the Black Women's Network meeting that was to be on that Saturday because the governor was saying all these things on the news, and we were like, we don't know what this is going to look like, but
Yeah.
we're going to cancel. What is this? And then we were home. And I know so many of my clients were like, well, no, I don't want to do telehealth. So, I'll see you when this is over. It won't be long. And they said April 15th. And then, nope. And they said June 15th, then July 15th. And I remember that's when it just really was like, this ain't no joke for real.
Yeah. I mean, we're in our third year. We're going
Yes.
this 2 months, 1 month, so but
Yeah.
one of the things that I will say, Shannon Ray, that's just really been helpful for me. Like I have a whole new vision. Like my eyes have been open, spiritually in a huge way. And I think that, even with your loss, all the losses we've all experienced, is there's still so much beauty, like what we're sharing right now. These memories, these are the things that we have to keep,
And cling to.
memories, and cling to them and enjoy them, because they were made to be enjoyed.
Absolutely.
And I also, for me, I've been shifting my mindset of, like, what am I learning about me during this time?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as you know, we got the virus ourselves, and I can't tell you how so much I thought about my life during that time. I just
Absolutely.
thought about my life because I had witnessed William passing. I had witnessed some other people passing. I had witnessed some people getting it, being in the hospital for 3 weeks and then coming home. Like I had
Mm-hmm.
witnessed different journeys of people, and then the COVID doesn't care how old you are, how young you are, what's going
Mm-hmm.
on with you, where your life is at, how your marriage is doing, how you're. I mean, it doesn't care about any of those things. And so I'm like, let me get ahead of this and see what can I glean from God
Mm.
with this situation that we are in. What can I glean from God? My life cannot go, everybody's like, let's get back to the new normal. Well, your life can't get back to what your new normal was.
Mm.
And if it was great, your normal was great, awesome, kudos to you. But if you look around in the world, none of us really have the same normal. It is a
Yes.
new that we're going to have to walk and step into and live in. And we're going to have to make a choice to do that or not. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, it's been a real great time of evaluation and reflecting.
Mm-hmm. When William and I would sit together and, I think back on, like, just again, God does all things well, because if God knew that he was going to need William to come home, he gave me one solid year that I didn't look at hardly anybody but him. And I got to laugh and giggle, and we just got to spend so much amazing quality time together.
Mm,
And though every single day my heart breaks and I think about that, I think that, what a gift God gave me if he was going to call him home to allow me time to
mm.
just be with him, you know, to just
It was
spend.
great watching you guys. It was so great watching y'all. I
You
don't
know,
know. Remember me? I told you that me and Gigi, the day of William's passing a year ago today. Do you remember? I think I sent you that video where we were literally praying. We were praying and we were looking up at the sky, and the stars were twinkling, and there was just one star over your house that was twinkling. It was almost like as if God was talking to us through the star, because
mm,
when he would say something, the star would get brighter. And I said, Gigi, oh my gosh, did you see that? So, like, all these beautiful moments, God
yes,
just, I mean, he blessed you at William, but he was blessing me, people like me and Gigi too, and Lynn, and all the other people that were in it. his life. Like God was just blessing. Even Lynn was. I mean, she's got to come in here. She loved when he would say that no person, because he just richly blessed everybody's life he walked into.
Mhm.
But yeah, I still have the video.
Oh yeah. That was just so amazing. And I call those kisses on the forehead from God. And when you showed me that, it just made my heart sing. I just gotta say that, there were so many of those little things. Like when he passed, there was a hummingbird, and
Mm,
that hummingbird still comes. He still comes.
wow.
When I left the house on Monday, the hummingbird was out there.
Wow.
It blows my mind. It's like, God, you are something else. Yes, yes, yes. It's amazing. And when I tell people about those the stars over the house, and there were none. You videoed down the street, there were no stars
Your house,
anybody else's house. That's
it's
amazing.
like that. I mean, the only that's real clear evidence of God's goodness. It's
Yeah,
just so clear.
yes,
People say they don't believe
absolutely.
in God. I'm like, honey, I don't know why. Just go outside.
Yeah, because you didn't do that.
It's
I didn't
still
do that.
it happened.
Yes,
Never experienced before. So yeah,
it was beautiful.
he definitely shined his light on you that day.
Let's see what the folks are saying. Connie says, yes, knowing the word and then living through the experience of loss gives those scriptures new meaning for us. Absolutely. It creates a new level of understanding. Yes, it does, Connie. For sure, my girl. We can empathize with others more easily because of what we've been through. 100%. And, and I'm a therapist. And so, yes, people say to me, well, you have the tools. Girl, them tools go right out the window when it's you. Trust me. I have a therapist. Okay, please know this. I saw her today at 3 o'clock. I have my own therapist because I can't do me. Oh my gosh, no. And so, but just knowing that, certainly I can say that I do know that I should breathe here, and I know that I can practice mindfulness. I know whatever. There are times that none of that can soothe me. None of that can soothe me, but God can.
Yep.
I can. And that's why I listen to the music, and I start the morning, and I have done that since William passed with Smile, Kirk Franklin's Smile.
I love that song.
Yeah, because it says when we go through through the storm, God is
Mm.
right there with you in the storm. Yes, yes, yes. What else is going on there? Lynn said the memories are a treasure that fill our hearts. Absolutely, sister.
Mm.
Absolutely. When I'm learning about me, what I can glean from God. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Hi, Gigi. Gwen is here. The other Gigi. She says, are you still live? This is so precious. Yes, we are still live. Thank you. Ah, look who's here. Joe V. Two beautiful sisters in the mix. Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Hi,
Joe
Joe
B.
V.
Joe B. I always like he sees your post, and here he see something you put up. He always comments. I love it. I
Yes, we love us some Joe V. Ain't no party like a Joe V party, because a Joe V party don't stop. I love it. Oh, we got a lot of folks in here tonight. I love it. Gigi says, that's a wonderful blessing. Look at one another for a year. Wow. Yes, yes, Gigi, we did. And giggled a lot. Oh, yes, Gigi was the one that was in the car there and saw the star. Yes. And I have to say, I could not have done this without such beautiful people in my life. Gigi Gwen says, wow, that's a beautiful reflection on the gift of time together. COVID was for you and William. Yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes. Gigi said, God said that we would shine like stars. Absolutely. What's Nana saying? Great memories for a great man. I'm blessed to have enjoyed this awesome man. Yes. And he loved him some Nana. He loved him some Marie. He would say,
His
who's
taste
cooking?
got
Is
chocolate cake too.
Marie cooking? And his chocolate cake every year. Chocolate, what is it? Chocolate mud cake?
It's death
Death
by
by
chocolate.
chocolate. Death by chocolate.
Yes,
Yes. And you know that we would go every time we would each have a birthday. That was our cake. So we had the
that's chocolate.
same. Hey, Spa Tracy, welcome, girl. She's sending some love to John. John.
Hey Tracy.
Um, I want to share this though before we get ready to go. I I truly I truly feel like a really blessed person because of the beautiful people that God has allowed to be in my life, to walk through this with me, to carry me through it at times, to cry with
Mhm.
me, to laugh with me. For those of you who don't know, that the day that my husband passed, he coded maybe 4 or 5 times. He did not want to go home. He wasn't ready yet. But God
Mhm.
said, yes, my son. And we had the nurses hold the phone up to his ear while I was on a three-way call with our girls, and the two girls said goodbye, and then the two grand boys said goodbye, and then my husband coded. He coded in that moment, and I was just like, my heart broke. Uh-oh, where'd Shani go? My heart broke in that moment, and then the phone rang, and it was a FaceTime, and that was oh, my Shani's gone. Hopefully she can get back on for a second. But the phone rang, and it was a FaceTime, and it was the chaplain, and she said that she was going to show me William. She said, he's still with us, Shauna Ray. He can't go anywhere until he hears your voice. And so she said, I'm going to hold the phone so that you can see him. She's back. There she is. She said, I'm going to hold the phone. Are you okay with that? So that you can see him. And I said, yes. And she showed me that she was holding William's hand. And then she showed me William's face. And that's how I said goodbye to
Mhm.
Michael William Joseph. And in that moment, I said, please stay with him until he goes home. And she promised that she would. And 9 women were in my yard because I still had COVID. I was day 16, but there were 9 women in my yard, and the two beautiful young men from next door who I watched grow up from the time they were 5, 7, and 9. And they were in the front yard, and they had their arms around me and their hands on my shoulders. And then about 15 minutes, I said an hour once, and Shan, you said, no, it's 15 minutes. It felt like an hour for sure. Um, the phone rang, and she called me back, and she said, Shauna Ray, he's gone home. And I looked at the phone, and it said 321. And I said, it's 321. She said, yeah, they're calling it at 321. And I said, he just gave me a kiss. And William and I used to do fun, silly things. And whenever the clock was on consecutive numbers, we would kiss. So we go, uh-oh, and we kissed. And it was 321 when he passed. So I said, God allowed him to give me a final kiss.
Wow.
And I hold on to that. And shows me the amazingness of God and the amazingness of his people, because um, I get to have those kinds of memories as well, even from the last day that he was here breathing air on the earth, that he was taking care of me. And he was able to give me a kiss goodbye. And I hold on to that. And so if you're out there and you've lost a loved one, and you're hurting like I'm hurting, think of all the small kisses on the forehead
Mhm.
that you can have. Think of all the things that were special between you and that person, and cling to those things, and find all the God incidences, all the gifts that God puts before us. But you have to be present and you have to be willing to make that choice to see them and to honor them and enjoy them. And that's how I am doing this, y'all. I'm choosing joy because my husband, William Joseph, was pure joy. He never met a stranger and he was a kind soul. So, this whole month of February is devoted and dedicated to him. And we're going to talk about grief and loss, but we're also going to talk about the choice of joy.
Mm.
Um, William and I shared a favorite scripture, and that was Philippians 4 through 8. It says, rejoice. I will say it again, rejoice. And that's what we did. We rejoiced about every day that we got to live together and be together and enjoy one another and cherish one another. And I invite you all to cherish your loved ones because we lost another dear friend today, a great, beautiful soul. And we know that she's good, but we're all grieving. And so as you grieve, remember to love one another, cling to one another, uplift one another, and honor God with your lives. And so everything I do is with the wind beneath my wings, which was always William Joseph. And today, when Shani was praying at the cemetery, she asked God to send a wind to let us know that William was okay and that he was good and that God is with us. And we waited a few minutes and the wind was calm. And then all of a sudden, there it was. So look for those things, y'all. Those are the things that will carry you. I love you all. Let's take a look at what folks are saying, and then we're going to say goodnight. John says, William would always try to snag an extra dessert. He had his priorities all right. Absolutely. We are notorious for chocolate, and we would eat chocolate and snacks in bed. Oh my gosh, Jania. Hello, beautiful.
Oh my goodness.
Goodness. I miss you, ladies.
Hey,
Celebration
Janine.
is always so nice to me. That's another one that he was always blown away by her talent. He used to say, "That's a
Yes,
little tiny ball of fire right there."
bad. She's bad. That's a bad girl right there.
That's a bad girl. Hello, beautiful.
Hey,
Thank you for
hey.
joining in tonight. Gigi says, "Such a wonderful story, The Kiss." Yes. Soror Terry, it's those memories that will get you through each day. That's right. My soror has her own story of grief. She had a lot of loss a few years ago, but she's thriving and thriving in joy and the memories. Right, Terry? God favored you too, even in the returning William to him in the heavenly. Yes, yes, Gwen, absolutely. Thank you. William was her boyfriend. We used to say that all the time. We say, I'd say, how's your boyfriend doing? I said, your boyfriend is doing this, that, or the other. And she said, well, girl, your boyfriend is over here cutting up or whatever. Gwen also has the blessing of a man who loves her and cherishes her. Lynn says, this has been a beautiful show dedicated to William. Thank you for sharing so many memories and making our hearts smile. Yes. Lynn, William said, always, he said, I just want to bring a smile to their faces.
Yep.
A wind. Our God is faithful. Absolutely. T-Man says, oh, yes. Girl. Let me share a tidbit about your boyfriend, Larry. We call him Chocolate Cake Chucky.
Oh my goodness.
That's a good one to know
Like
because
that
after
one.
all, he is, and my boyfriend Larry is Mr. Fitness. So I am glad to know that he enjoys a little chocolate cake here and there. Listen, you guys, I thank you all for joining Boss Talk tonight and for honoring my William with me and my Shani. And I love you all. Thank you all for joining in. That's that little Shani dance. Thank you all for joining in. You all mean the world to me. And let's all say a collective shalom, y'all. Good night. We'll see you next week with my guest, Tiffany Scott Clemente, my soror, who has a lot to say about loss and about William. Her and her husband were another of our favorite couples. So we thank you all for joining in. Prayers, John John. He loves him some chocolate. Shalom, y'all. Live loved. Good night.